Well, Trump announced. Let's talk about that. Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. How are you all this morning? We have a lot to talk about. This could be really, really interesting. Welcome to all the new people, both on our YouTube channel and on the Patreon channel. If you're not with us on Patreon, we'd love to have you over there. The link how to get there is down below. It not only helps support the channel, but you get extra content and allows you to kind of be involved more in the conversation. Behind me are my two lanterns, freedom and liberty. I haven't decided which is which yet, but one of them's freedom and one of them's liberty. These lanterns were made and given to me by Hondo Bob, one of our patrons over on the Integrative Preparedness Patreon site. And they are reminders. Okay, sorry, I might have to do that a couple of times. I just had to pause it for a coughing fit. I didn't figure you all wanted to hear that. So if I'm teary-eyed, it's because I was coughing, not because they're not tears of joy or sadness. So these are reminders of those lanterns of Paul Revere in the Old North Church. You know, one if by land, two if by sea. I'm going to keep these going, because we have some interesting times ahead. Now, what does this mean? Let's talk about Trump and why and when and how. And I know a lot of you will have a lot to say about this. Please put it in your comments. Like I say, I didn't think he was going to announce until after the new Congress was seated, but I understand why he did. He's putting pressure now. He's putting pressure on Congress, on the incoming Congress. He's laying claim to the victories of a lot of the people who have gotten in, and in some cases I think that's true. In others, I think he kind of got he saw the parade and he got in front of it and took credit for it, but. But for whatever reason, he's going to capitalize on this because he's a smart guy. Now, let me back up and begin with, do I think that he should run? Yes, I do. How does this impact other races? How does this impact DeSantis? How does this impact others who might, feel that they want to be a part of it? The next couple of years, in my opinion, with the Republicans taking back the House, was going to be a whole lot of investigations and press conferences and styling and posing without a lot of consequence, because the Republicans just they're just not, they're up to the argument, but they're not up to the fight. They do a lot better when they're out of power, because all they have to do is whine, and it's a lot easier to whine than to really solve a problem. When it comes down to brass tacks, they're all politicians. And to be honest, they're not quite as good politicians as the Democrats, and that's why they never get done what they want to get done. It takes a ramrod behind them to get them to do things. There have been a few. Reagan did it, and Trump did it. And, we forget a lot about Trump's years, because people, are too focused on his personality and, his rudeness, his crudeness, and all that. We forget, well, I don't forget, and many of you don't forget, but many people do forget, of all the accomplishments of his time in office. It was really an amazing time when he had pretty much the whole world against him. I mean, he didn't just have the Democrats against him. He had more than half of his own party, who were already raising their heads as never Trumpers, and getting ready to shoot him down at every chance they get. But I think that he is the only thing that is going to bring fight to the next 2 years, and I think he will fight. We need a fighter. What about DeSantis? DeSantis is good. He's solid. But we need to keep him in Florida, and he needs to head up the Republican governors organization. We need more governors, and we've got a few around the country. The real fight in the future, I think, is going to be between the states and the federal government, and we need those strong governors in the states. It's not DeSantis's time yet. I didn't like Trump, taking those shots at him, Ron DeSanctimonious. I didn't like Trump taking that shot at J.D. Vance when he said, Vance is kissing my ass. I do not like that. He needs to leave that behind him, because so much of what he's lost is the people, or so much of what the Democrats have gained was votes against Trump, not for what the Democrats were about. And Trump needs to try to keep that out of it. He needs to run on his ideas. He needs to run on his accomplishments. He needs to take that message to the American people of make America great again. Okay. And now I just read a headline, and I don't know if it's true or not, but it says that the new mantra is going to be MAGA with 2 G's, make America great and glorious again. I don't know if that came from his campaign or if it was just a headline writer, but it's pretty good. Our country was in a much stronger position back when he was in. Okay, sorry if I have to keep doing that. But we were in a lot better position. We were, I don't have to lay it out to you all. You know all these things. And I just looked up a list of Trump accomplishments before I decided to shoot this. The list is so long, many of which I had forgotten. Look it up yourself. But the Trump years in our country were really a good time. Everybody can think about, the price of gas, and unemployment was low, gas was low. We had achieved energy independence, and we had become an energy exporter. We were going to approach, like Trump said last night, energy dominance. He was not trying to destroy our country like the current administration is. But the difference between then and now is drastic. Okay. Trump brought something special to the fight. He brought fight to the fight. And I don't see that that's anything anybody else can do. DeSantis is strong in his way. Youngkin, he's got no fight in him. I know that there's all these people that have it in their idea that they're going to run. Well, what's going to happen is that they're going to, feel good about themselves. They're going to raise a lot of campaign money. They're going to throw shots at him, and they're going to work for a way to either make a name for themselves by being anti-Trump, or they're going to, vie for a place in his administration. We all know what that is. There's no other viable candidate if Trump is in. Simple as that. That's the way it is. DeSantis will be wrecking his boat on the rocks if he decides to run this time. He shouldn't. He should wait. Now, I haven't given a lot of thought on who Trump should pick as his running mate. There are some great ones around. I would love to see Kristi Noem in there, but there are others. But Trump is the one that's going to bring the fight, and we need the fight. A couple of things that he's going to do is he's going to put pressure on the Republicans who are going to be heading up these investigations. Look at all the things that we need to look into. We still have not, completed those investigations on Hillary, on Obama, on Burisma, on all of the Biden corruption, on the FBI. We have so many investigations that need to be done. Now, McCarthy is a nitwit. He's a politician to the core. They're all politicians, but he's one to the core. Is he marginally better than McConnell? I don't know. I don't think much. I think those two are bottom dwellers. Pretty much the same. But they are driven. They will go where they are driven. They can either be led or they can be driven, and Trump is the kind that can drive people by the movement, by supporters of his, who then drive their congressmen, or at least if the Congress people understand or if they perceive that there's a drive toward this and Trump is driving it, they will drive McCarthy because they want to save their seats. They want to be reelected. That is the most important thing. After air itself, and maybe not even more than important than air to a politician, is to be reelected. Some have said they've thrown out the name Tulsi Gabbard. There will be a lot here that don't trust her. I'm keeping an eye. I like a lot of what she says. I like so much. She is evolving. She's she is political evolution. In as we watch. But in the next couple of years, it's going to be amazing to watch. I think it's going to be an interesting time. Trump is going to drive it. He's going to drive this, and the next 2 years of Biden's administration are going to be absolute hell for Biden. They're going to be hell for the Democrats. They're going to be hell for Mitch McConnell. They're going to be hell for, what's that idiot's name who is our vice president? Whoever, Kamala. It's going to be hell for them. It would not be hell for them if Donald Trump weren't running. And I think he's going to jump into this, and I think he's going to jump into it with both feet. Some will say that he's doing it so that all these investigations that are so-called into him, which is a bunch of, well, you have your own opinion of what you think about those, so that all those will be seen as political ploys. Well, that's a good point. I mean, that's politics, right? That's part of politics. It'd be smart on his part to do that. But I genuinely think, he loves a fight. He loves a fight. If you have studied him, and I've studied him for years, since I read his first book way back in the 80s. This guy loves a fight, and he will not back down. And he will find a way to make a deal. Sometimes he makes deals that don't seem on the surface to make much sense until you see what happens around, 2 or 3 more corners down the road. Over on integrated preparedness, I think I'm going to make the point that we are in a civil war. People have talked about civil war coming. Well, American politics is civil war. That's essentially what it is. We've been involved in a civil war since the Revolution because we've had different sides at each other's throats so much. With diametrically opposed ideas of how things should be done. Now, I don't think, we've never, in my opinion, had a situation to where one party was so insane that they actually wanted to destroy the country, with the possible exception of Lincoln, who wanted to destroy half the country. But we've never had a group of people who were bound and determined to turn our country into a communist state. And it's because of the rise of, it goes back to 1917, right? I mean, the seeds of what's going on today were planted, in that revolution. And these people have been able to gain their power as a result of the ignorance and the laziness of too much of the American people. Now, I won't say all of the American people, but too much. Too many of our people are uneducated about our country, our government, how it's supposed to work. They're uneducated about politics. They're uneducated about finance, about economics. They don't understand what's going on. They vote according to their emotions, and that's what the Democrats rely on. Democrats aren't looking for thinkers. They're looking for people who are emotional, and especially those who either identify themselves as victims or identify themselves as, the empathetic defenders of victims. So you see, without victimology, the Democrats have nothing to hang their hat on. They need victims. We, on the other hand, don't look at things as that way. And we have to fight. We have to fight as hard. We have to fight harder than the other side. They fight all the time. They fight to promote their ideas and ideals. They are always fighting. We are never fighting. Occasionally we'll go out and we vote. Okay. But if anything is going to come out of this that is good, it's going to be up to everybody. You know, we talk about America needs a reversion. This is the next opportunity. With Trump announcing, in my opinion, this is the next opportunity for our energies to be able to be put to good use. To put that energy out there, to talk out there, to spread our message, to push for a return to American ideals. I'm going to start wearing this cap again. I'm going to wear it. Now, I'm not going to wear it when I'm at a restaurant. I don't want them to spit in my food. I'm not going to wear it when I go through a drive-through for the same reason. I probably won't wear it when I'm driving one of my nicer vehicles, but when I'm in my truck, my work truck, or another one, I'll probably wear it just because I don't want somebody to key a nice vehicle. You know, that's the way they are. That's the way they work. We have to fight against that. You know, well, that's one end of their criminal spectrum. You know, on the one hand, it's the explosion of the cities, the murders that happen all the time, the abortion. They embrace a cult of death. But on the other side, it's these small things, these hateful incidents that happen every day to conservatives. You know, keying your car, yelling at you, you know, for wearing a Trump cap, you know, whatever. But we have to push back on those things, you know, not risking our lives to do it. It's not time to do that yet, but we have to be flying the flag. And everybody needs to be out there flying the flag. And people who have been kind of reticent, have been reticent or hesitant about, you know, expressing their opinions. That's part of the problem. That's a lot of the problem. The people, because the left, they will just spew their stuff all the time, and we won't. You know, we're too polite. We don't want to cause trouble. We don't want to be sent down to HR, right? But we need to take that. We need to take that fight to them, and it has to be done. It has to be done on a daily basis. It has to be done in large ways and small. They have to see the wave. There is a wave out here. It didn't manifest in a red wave at this last elections, but there is a wave out here of a lot of people who are just sick of how our country is going, and they want to see it change, but they're not sure how to do it. Trump is a leader. He is a dynamic leader. He is a fighter. Regardless of what you think of some of the things he said, he is probably the best hope that America has right now. That's my opinion. He is the best hope because he is the one who will fight. The rest will go out and make speeches. He will fight. He will take it to them. And you know, the best way to keep people from punching you is to be punching them and keep them busy blocking your punches, and that's what he does. But we can't have a bunch of mealy-mouthed, you know, people out here, you know, joining the other side by going, well, I just don't like what he says. I don't like what he says either. But the thing is that is detrimental. What's more important? The fact that we like everything that he says or everything that he does, or trying to get our country back on track? That's the important thing. Okay. So Trump has announced. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens over the next couple of years. I don't think that what we've seen over the last 6 years is going to compare to what we're going to see in the next 2 years. So, you know, buckle up and get ready for the ride. Let me know what you think about this. If you, let me just put it this way. I won't say if you support Trump, go out there and do it vocally. I will say it's time for everybody to start standing up a little bit taller, a little bit better, a little bit louder about what we believe in and what we want from this country, because they're taking it away from us. I think there still is a chance. Somebody said a couple of videos ago, well, it's too late for a reversion now after the elections. No, it's not. It's more important now. It's more important. And now that there is a national focus, Trump has put himself in the position of being a national leader. Okay, there's something to focus on. That's what people need. You know, most people don't want to be in charge of other people. Yeah, I'm always much more comfortable with a reluctant leader. Most of us have our lives to live. We're not out there trying to be in charge of other people. But when you have somebody who will step forward, and I believe in his case, he did it. Remember, he didn't need to be. He lived a great life, right? He gave stuff up to run and to be president. He took shots from everybody in the world that used to kiss his butt, right? I mean, I think he did it because he believed in America. And when somebody does that, they deserve our support. That's my opinion. Your opinion may differ. That's all right. You can differ. I know on this one you'll be polite. If you disagree with me, you know, on the other channel I'd have to give a warning. But you know, there's ways to do it. If anybody new is coming by here, here's the way to do it. Don't come on and say you're an idiot. Trump is just blah blah blah. You can come on and say, well, in my opinion, I feel differently, and here's why. You see, that's the difference between an attack and an argument and a discussion. And we have discussions here. What do y'all think? Let me know about this. This is going to be an interesting time. So remember, America needs a reversion. I didn't even hold up my book, by the way. If you want these for Christmas, better order them fast. America needs a reversion. Needs you to be a part of it, needs me to be a part of it, needs all of us to be a part of it. We'll be watching with interest. I'm sure that every day is going to bring some interesting things up. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.